We've all seen it. Heck, I've lived it. The messy social media messages, the public tea spilling, and the absolute embarrassment of finding out that your life is a lie through a Facebook post or an Instagram message that your spouse thought was hidden. What if it didn't have to be like that, though? What if you could find out before their affair got too deep? Statistics show that over 20% of marriages deal with infidelity, and most affairs last for years because they thrive in the dark. It's time to turn the lights on. Verified.com is the world's first searchable relationship registry. It's not just an app, it's a digital boundary for your marriage. When you register your spouse on Verified, you are claiming your relationship on a global scale, whether you're talking, you're dating, or you're married. If another man or woman is being told your spouse is single or divorced, and they search for your spouse on the registry, they find you instead. Now here's the game changer. Verified allows you to speak one-on-one and directly with that other person. No gaslighting from your spouse, no he said, she said, no, oh my God, you went through my phone. How could you betray my trust like that? And zero social media drama. Just the truth, person to person, before things go too far. Don't wait for that gut feeling to become a nightmare. Because even if you think your spouse would never, there's an even better chance that you just never know. Register your spouse today using the link in the show notes and lock in your legacy to protect your peace. Marriage isn't supposed to feel like roommates, but it doesn't have to feel like a war either. Hi, I'm Cameron Alaricky, certified marriage coach and a relationship expert. Every week on Married and Connected, I bring you real talk, hard truths, and practical tools you can start using right away. Whether you've been married 2 years or 42, this is where you'll find hope, encouragement, and steps that actually work. So let's make your marriage feel good again, starting right now. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Married and Connected podcast. I am your host, Cameron Alaricky, and today we are pulling the rug back on a topic that usually ends in a lot of shouting, a lot of door slamming, and a whole lot of, oh my God, why am I doing everything in this marriage? We are talking about the difference between control and leadership. Now, in modern marriage, these two words get swapped all the time. The women are burnt out, the men feel like they are being nagged by their mothers, and the connection is buried under a pile of laundry and resentment. There is a reel that is actually a segment from a movie where this guy is talking to this therapist, and I can't remember what the movie is, but anyways, the guy is talking to the therapist, and the therapist is like, okay, let me get this straight. So you are wanting all the freedom without any of the responsibility. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, there's only one person in the world that gets that. And he's like, oh, the president? And she's like, no, a baby. And he's like, oh, now here's why I say this. I see this more and more and more as the years go by when I'm coaching couples. So here's the deal, guys. If you're still listening, thanks for sticking with me. That right there shows that you want accountability and responsibility and you're trying to be a better man. And I am saying all of this with love and kindness and compassion in my heart. But also, as you know, if you are a longtime listener, I'm not Willy Wonka. I am not going to sugarcoat this for you. I am the coach that is going to give you a heavy dose of reality. There is a trend happening here where men want this freedom without responsibility. They want the house to be clean. They want the kids to be fed. They want the social calendar to be managed and a thriving, very voluptuous sex life. But they don't want to be the one to be responsible for the logistics that make all those things happen. They want their wife, in a lot of cases, to work and do all of those things, but they just want to work and then come home and rest. Now, psychologically, we in the coaching and the counseling and therapy world call this Peter Pan syndrome. It was popularized by Dr. Dan Kiley in the 80s, and it has evolved. Today, it's a fight for autonomy that's really just a fight for infancy. Think about it. A baby gets fed, they get changed, they get entertained, and they don't have to contribute to making sure that that happens for themselves. When a man refuses to lead, meaning he refuses to take ownership of the emotional and physical well-being of the home, he's essentially forcing his wife to be his mother. And let me tell you something. Nobody wants to sleep with their mom. unless you're really deranged or maybe from Alabama. Nothing kills a woman's libido faster than the resentment for a woman feeling like she has one extra child than what she actually has in the home. I have even heard clients recently who have said, but I don't want to be the leader of the home. I just want a team partnership. Great. I'm glad that you want a team partnership, but that requires you to do more than the bare minimum. It requires you to show up. It requires you to be not only physically present, but emotionally present in the home as well. It requires you to help with homework and cleaning things up and packing backpacks and not forgetting the library book that your wife reminded you to pack on Wednesday when it was due on Thursday. Research by Eve Rodsky. She is the author of Fair Play as well as Unicorn Space, both fantastic books that I highly recommend to anybody listening to this. Unicorn Space is geared more towards guys, where the Fair Play method is geared more towards the mental load that women are experiencing. And what she shows in her research shows that the mental load, meaning that the invisible labor of running the household, is overwhelmingly carried by women. We've heard that it's one of those things like narcissism that is absolutely just running rampant through social media. But when men opt out because it's too much responsibility or I just want to relax after work, they are leaving their wives to shoulder a burden that's not natural to their design. It's not natural for a woman to go to work and then to come home and do all of the work there as well. Women are biologically wired for connection and nurturing. That is our space where we thrive. But when we have to do all of that plus financial strategy, the household logistics, the discipline of the children, because the husband is the fun dad, it means that we as women aren't just tired. We are biologically depleted. We don't feel emotionally safe, especially when we're trying to come to you to vent and all we're doing is getting fixed, or we're getting advice that we didn't ask for, or we're getting dismissed, or we're getting your defensiveness. It absolutely depletes us. And this is why you're getting a not tonight. I have a headache. Maybe another time. Ooh, get away from me. Our cortisol levels are through the roof. And nervous systems are stuck in survival mode, that fight or flight. So when that happens, we're only thinking with our amygdala. That means that we're only thinking emotionally. We're not thinking logically. And again, you guys, I see this all the time, where men want this luxurious life, but then don't want to do the work to maintain the relationship. The other thing that happens is maybe it's not that you don't want to be a leader in your marriage. Maybe it's the fact that you don't know what that looks like. Maybe you grew up with a dad that wasn't a leader in your home. He came home, he grabbed a beer out of the fridge, cracked it open, sat in a chair, and that's where he spent the rest of the evening. That's possible. So now you want to be the change maker, but you're like, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what it looks like other than to be the fun dad and leave my wife to be the manager mom. I don't know any other dynamic. And if that's the case, I would really encourage you to reach out. Reach out and get coaching. Learn from the experts. That's why we're experts. Most likely we've gone through the hard stuff so that now you don't have to. We can teach you and you can learn from our experience, as well as our education and our exposure. If you want a luxurious life and a thriving marriage, you got to pay the responsibility tax. This is no different than your kids coming to you and saying, Daddy, will you open the fruit snacks for me? And you're like, yep, but I'm taking 2 of the red ones. Dad tax. Yeah, you got to pay responsibility tax too. Because leadership isn't just about giving orders, it's about taking hits. It's about saying, I've got the kids tonight so that you can rest. Or, hey, I handled the taxes. Or, hey, I'm responsible for the emotional temperature of this room. We need to take it down a notch. That means I've got this. You go take a bath. Stop yelling at the kids. I got this. And then you step in to parent so that you can give your spouse, who is clearly not in the best headspace to parent right now, a break. Now, ladies, we're going to pivot here, because when men vacate that leadership seat, women usually step up into the control seat. And while I completely understand why you do it, because if you don't, you have the self-belief that it's just not going to get done and the house is literally going to burn down. We have to talk about what it's doing to your soul and his spirit. When a woman tries to control her husband's behavior, his friend group, how he spends 5 minutes of free time, how long he sits on the toilet or doesn't, she's usually doing it because she feels unsafe. Control is a survival mechanism. Totally get it. And the thought process there is, okay, if I can control the environment, then I can control the outcome. And if I can predict the outcome, I won't get hurt. So you wear this like a shield. You wear your control and your resentment like a shield. But here's the research-backed reality on that. Control is not the same as a boundary. A control is me trying to change your behavior. Well, you can't see those friends anymore because they're a bad influence. You have to stop drinking. You have to stop smoking weed. You have to stop yelling. A boundary is a fence around your yard. A boundary is you deciding what you're going to tolerate. I'm not okay with our family time being interrupted by late nights out. So if that continues, I'm going to take the kids and spend our evenings focusing on our peace somewhere else. I am not okay being yelled at. So the next time that happens, I will be leaving this conversation. He's free to yell all he wants. He's free to stay out as long as he wants. But you're locking the door at midnight. You're taking the kids and going to your mom's for the evening. When women try to control, that's when contempt starts to form. And in the Gottman method, contempt is the number one predictor of divorce. As a coach, I will tell you, once you have contempt in your marriage, it is insanely rare that you will come back from that. It's that eye roll energy. It's the, well, I have to do everything myself because you're an imbecile kind of energy. And what does this do to your man? It pushes him into what psychologists call the wounded feminine energy. I don't want you to get hung up on the word feminine here. This is not about gender. It's about energy. Every single person has a masculine and a feminine energy. There's a few episodes before this that we've talked about masculine and feminine energy. One was with David and Paige, and one was with Andre Parody. I'm sure I've mentioned it in other episodes as well. So it's not about your gender, but masculine energy is about doing, providing, protecting. Most likely, if your wife has been at work all day, she's coming home and it's very difficult to flip into the feminine energy, which is about being and receiving and nurturing when she's been in her masculine all day at work. Just like you've probably been in your masculine all day at work. Okay, so going back to when a man is constantly criticized and controlled and your masculine shuts down, you slip into this passive, wounded state where you stop trying. You become defensive, you withdraw, and you start to operate through this natural filter that you've created of, I'm never enough. Nothing I do is ever enough. My effort is not good enough. It will never be enough. I can't give you what you want. All dismissive, avoidant tendencies. Research shows that men are more sensitive to shame in a relationship than women are. So in terms of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that Gottman talks about, women are fine with criticism, usually. We've been criticized our entire lives. But men haven't been. So they're more sensitive to that shame. When a man feels controlled, he feels shamed. When he feels shamed, he goes into his man cave. And the more he's in the cave, the more you try to control him to get him out, which then sends him in even deeper. It's a death spiral. I see this all the time. With my women's group, Edifying Eden, that's exactly what we talked about in that program. About how a woman is trying to fix her husband's social life or his habits and how he's reacted by becoming even more passive or checked out. And how her attempts to help actually amplify that feeling of not being good enough. So sometimes it's a case where the man is forcing his woman to be a mother. Sometimes it is a case where the woman has stepped into that motherhood role, either because she doesn't trust her man or because that's what comes naturally to her, because that's what she saw with her mom and her dad. Either way, it is a death spiral for your marriage. Okay, so how do we fix this? We have to redefine leadership. Leadership in marriage is not about who has the final say. That's a corporate structure, not a covenant. A true leadership is service. It is service-based. In Terry Real's work on relational life therapy, he talks a lot about relational mindfulness. A leader in a marriage is the one who is brave enough to go first. This is emotional maturity. The leader is the first to apologize. The leader's the one who sees that the sink is full of dishes and just gets to doing it. That sees that the toilet needs to be cleaned and just takes care of it. It's the leader who doesn't just walk in and see home, but sees what needs to be done in order to manage the household. Without, and this is the most important part, without making a martyr speech about it. Well, you don't ever appreciate anything I do. Well, I did the dishes. Isn't that enough? Well, no, really, it's not. The leader is the one who provides the emotional safety so that then a partner can stop trying to control everything out of an effort to feel safe. For the men, leadership means reclaiming your responsibility. It means realizing that if you want a woman who is soft and feminine and sexual, who is an absolute tigress in the bed, you have to be the man who creates a container where she can be those things. I talk about this a lot in my one-on-one coaching. You have to play baseball. Your wife comes to you, she pitches. She tries to tell you something. That is her pitching the ball to you. You have a couple of different options here. You can dismiss it completely, try to fix it, give her advice she didn't ask for, tell her it's not that big of a deal or that she's overreacting. If you do those things, you just struck out. You get to go back to the dugout and wait until she comes to you again. And the more you strike out, the less she's going to come to you, the less opportunities you're going to have to actually get a home run. Okay? So the second option is you actually hit the ball. Wow, babe, okay, that's great. I'm so proud of you. Oh man, that really sucks. Do you need a hug? Do you just need me to listen? Or do you need advice here? You're getting curious. You're listening. You're putting your phone down. You're helping out. You're engaged. Okay? If you get that, then you get to run to first base. She tells you what she needs to tell you. If you are an emotionally safe person, you get to first base and you master first base. That's emotional safety. Can your partner come to you and tell you anything that they possibly want, good, bad, indifferent, hard, easy, whatever, and you listen and you actually engage well? You don't make them feel small. You make them feel seen, heard, understood, and like they have a partner. If that happens, then you get to run to second base, which is connection. I feel connected to you. You feel connected to me. I feel like we're a team. If you've mastered connection, you get to run to third base, which is emotional intimacy. Not the same thing as emotional safety. Emotional intimacy is trust. My partner is consistent. My partner has my back no matter what. I know for a fact that the hottest person in the world could come knock on this door right now and I would still turn them down because what I've built with my spouse is better than anything that anybody new could come in and do. I know that I have a true partnership. Only then will a woman actually feel open to having great sex with you. Women have to have emotional intimacy first. Men usually get emotional intimacy and connection through sex. Women are the ones receiving. They're the ones that having to open themselves in order for you to come in. You have to go first. You have to give them what they need first. That is leadership. You have to take the mental load off her plate. Otherwise, it's just sex. She's not enjoying it. She's sitting there thinking about the 7 loads of laundry she's got to do and the 2 loads of dishes that are still in the sink. Or the 3-year-old that hasn't had a bath yet. Now, for women, leadership means having the courage to set boundaries instead of controls. It means stepping back and allowing your partner to fail. And yes, he might forget the diaper bag. He might not have packed the right snacks. He might pick the wrong friends. But if you keep being his rescuer and his safety net and his boss, he's never going to grow into the man that you actually want to be with. You have to stop being his mother so that he can remember that he is your husband. You have to require him to rise to the level you want him to be. And the more you empower him to do so, the more he will feel empowered to do so. He will motivate himself to actually do that. The more you're the crab in the pot, which it just came to me a few days ago that a lot of people don't know this analogy that I use. Okay, the crab in the pot. When you dump a bunch of crabs into a pot of boiling water, the crabs that are boiling to death, the crabs will actually start to climb out. But the crabs that are boiling to get to death will actually reach up and pull the ones that are trying to climb out down, and they all die together. Don't be the crab in the pot to your relationship. Don't keep pulling your spouse back down. Help them climb out. Okay? Now, this requires a terrifying thing called vulnerability. Instead of saying, God, you're so lazy, you never help. A leader, an emotionally safe and emotionally mature person is going to say, hey, you know what? I am feeling incredibly overwhelmed and I need your help to carry this load because I'm hitting a breaking point. How can we solve this? What can you do? What can you take off my plate? That is healthy communication. That is you saying, hey, this is what I need. This is what a secure person does. Not anxious, preoccupied, not fearful, avoidant, not dismissive, avoidant. A secure person says, hey, this is what I need. And if your partner does that, great, awesome. You guys are going in the right direction. And if your partner says, yeah, I'm going to do that, and doesn't do that, then you set a boundary. Hey, you know what? I'm not getting my needs met in this marriage. Maybe it's better if you go stay at your mom's for a while. Maybe it's better that you not live here. Maybe it's better that we separate. Maybe it's better that I stop doing laundry and all the things for you because, yeah, that's too much on my plate. And since you're not willing to help me, then I have to conserve my energy so that I have enough for our kids. That's setting boundaries. Now, to wrap this up, we also need to look at natural design. Men, you were designed to be the strength. Women, you were designed to be the heart. When the strength is absent, the heart has to become hard to protect itself. And a hard heart is the number one cause of divorce. More than infidelity, more than money, more than sex, a hardened heart is the irreconcilable difference that you check on the divorce paper. Now, according to the Journal of Family Psychology, couples who move toward egalitarian responsibility, that means that where both feel the weight of the life that they've built and appreciate that the roles that each other has are moving towards the same goal. Yes, one of you may have to make the money to buy the groceries. The other one takes those groceries and makes a meal out of it. But one cannot happen without the other. If you can't cook and your wife can, and you're the one making the money, you need to appreciate her as much as she appreciates you, and vice versa. These people, the ones that are moving towards that egalitarian responsibility, report the highest levels of marital satisfaction and the lowest levels of burnout. So this week's challenge, here's what I want you to do, okay? Men, I want you to find one management task in your house this week that you have avoided. Don't ask your wife how to do this. Figure it out. Google it, own it, call your friend who does it and ask him. Tell her, hey, I've got the grocery shopping, the bill paying, and the bedtime routine from now on. It's off your plate. Now that means you take that from conception all the way through execution. That means let's take grocery shopping, for example. If you're going to take grocery shopping, that means that you meal plan, you go through the cupboards in the refrigerator, figure out what you've got, figure out what you need, do the list, either put in the order or go to the store and get it, go pick it up, bring it home, put it away. That is conception all the way through execution. Bill paying, you figure out what the passwords are, what the login is, what comes out, what goes in, what is due, when it's due, bedtime routine. You are in charge of, from the time that dinner is done, if that's helping clean up the kitchen, bath, 2 books, brush your teeth, go to bed. If it's singing, whatever you do, it's on you. Conception, planning, execution. Okay? Women, I want you to identify one area where you are controlling instead of setting the boundary. Instead of critiquing how he does something, I want you to practice radical silence. Let him do it his way. If it fails, then let the natural consequences happen. Don't fix it for him. If he doesn't get the grocery shopping done by Monday night and you guys don't have anything to make for dinner, sorry, looks like takeout it is. And he's the one that's going to have to order that and go get it and pay for it simply because of the fact that he didn't get it done when he said he was going to do it. Lack of planning in a marriage for one partner does not constitute an emergency on the other. Leadership is about lifting the burden off of each other. Partnership requires leadership on both parts. Control is about gripping that burden and holding it so tight that it suffocates. This year, my goal is to teach you tools every single week to help your marriage thrive so that you don't feel like you're suffocating it by holding it so tightly. I want you to be able to lead so that you both can breathe. Thanks for going so deep with me today. I know this stuff isn't easy, but it is the stuff that saves marriages. If this episode spoke to you, please share it. Send it to your spouse with a note that says, hey, let's talk about this. And until next week, stay married and connected. This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional counseling or therapy. Every couple story is unique, so take what's helpful and leave the rest. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that neither I, Cameron Thompson-Alaricki, Married and Connected, or Recognizing Potential Coaching are responsible for any outcomes related to what you apply from this show, especially if you are not a client of mine.